Okay, there's still the sky's still blue, and we see M13 at the bottom. Yeah, it's still blue here. There's not enough start for me to do proper alignment, but let's just see here what's going to happen. Hang on. Okay, we've got nice blue sky here, and we are looking at M13 at the moment. Okay, is this thing still working? Let's confirm it. Yes, it is. All right. So we've got M13 in there. I did a 1-star alignment, but it's not an accurate one. Let me do a little bit of adjustments. We've got a nice blue sky at the moment. Okay. Oh. Mosquitoes are wild tonight here, folks. I hope we're not going to have a summer like that. It's the rest of the summer like that. It's not going to be too pleasant. I'm running at 431 milliseconds, so it's not even half a second at the moment, and we are seeing M13 under blue skies. So what I'm going to do is increase the magnification here a little bit. Here it is. We do detect a little bit of colors in the stars. And this is the actual field of view. Just like that. So it's an 8-inch f8. Reach correction. It's a VRC-8 at f8, and I've got a universe 0.5 focal reducer on there, so it brings me down about f4, f4.5, give or take. I didn't put any spacers on it either, so most likely it'll be about f4.5 or so, give or take. Now, if I could get rid of the mosquitoes, I'd be very happy. And I'm breakdancing here, trying to shake them off me, and now we got to wait until darkness arrives, so we can have a much better view. And for that, I'm going to background, although this is a blue sky at the moment, and it's less than half a second. It's only 400 milliseconds of exposure. Everything's at default here at the moment. Histogram, colors, not colors, but the saturation, gamma, everything's at default. All what we're doing here is exposure and gain. And the gain is at 34 at the moment. I'm going to bring that up to 50. But it gives us a little bit too bright of a background. So I guess yeah, about 45 sounds okay. Or increase exposure just a tad more to half a second. There you go. This is half a second. And let's try to bring it up to 3/4 of a second. Sky's still blue. Sun is not completely down yet. And I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes here. Here's 1 second. This is 1 second exposure at the moment. It's not bad at all, but I tell you, it's not the 16-inch. It certainly shows a wide field of view. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be able to detect NGC 6207. It's a galaxy nearby. We're certainly covering about 1 degree diagonally at the moment, roughly, just roughly. And I bet you if we wait a little bit for the darkness to arrive, we will be able to pick up a galaxy in there easily, which is near M13. So let's go 2 seconds and see what it's going to give us. Yeah, this is 2 seconds. You can tell the sky's still blue because the image is blue. Oh my goodness, folks, you should see the mosquitoes here. This is insane. I'm going to go in dome number 1. I'm in dome number 2 now. I'm going to go in dome number 1 and get some bug spray. I'm going to be right back, okay? Just hang on tight. That's ridiculous. Welcome to Canada.
Welcome to Canada.
It's hard to make a big change.
Huh?
Gotta get the light turned on.
Well, you know it's summer when you see all the fireflies glowing in the backyard when the sun's still up, so that's pretty amazing. Oh, the circles of dust bunnies window of the camera, and I didn't bother cleaning them up, of course. They'll disappear once the sky gets dark. You're mainly going to see them when you have a blue sky like we're having now. So the circles are dust bunnies. It's micro dust that you can't see to the naked eye. And because the sky is blue and the camera is so sensitive, it's picking up light. Quite a lot of light, in fact. And the dust bunnies casting a shadow that's out of focus. If those dust bunnies would be little pinpoint, then you got an issue with the CCD or the sensor, the CMOS sensor. But it's not the case here. So because it's away from the pixels and it's sitting on top of the window, the optical window, you're going to see them as little circles like that. It's not a big deal. We could clean it up, or you could take a flat field and it's going to be gone, but I'm not going to bother because I'm not observing the circles. I'm observing M13. And besides, when it's going to get dark with the background being black, they're going to disappear. You won't see them anymore. So yeah, we're at this is the full width. Let me use the zoom here a little bit. Here's M13. See, you don't see the dust bunnies anymore. Well, except the one at 5 o'clock a little bit. That's not bad at all. Here's 67%. This is very impressive. With blue sky like this, this is quite okay, this is 75%, and this is 100%. Oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah, it's amazing to see, even with a focal reducer, which when you induce windows, basically glass, in a reflective telescope system, you could actually have some color aberration, meaning that blue will split and red will split out of focus. But the universe focal reducer costs that much money for one reason: you don't have that effect. Everything is as pinpoint as possible, as it could be, and this is what you're looking at. So you basically get what you paid for. Oh, this is very, very, very nice. I'm very impressed with that. The zoom system works extremely well. And we're going to go back to fit the window, which is the actual field of view of the camera, focal reducer, and telescope. And the exposure time we're running with the blue sky, so the dynamic range is pretty good here. Like I said earlier, this is not the 16-inch, this is an 8-inch. It's half the size. And I'm running a 2-second exposure. Gain is at 32. That is stunning, to say the least. I'll pump that up to 3-second exposure, and we're going to get a little brighter. There you go. A bit too bright, I'd say. I think 2 seconds was. The magic spot there. Hang on a sec. There you go. But the gain, though, is at 32. So if we lower the gain, we're going to have less sensitivity. There you go. And if you increase the gain a little bit, 61, you're going to have a lot. So instead of increasing the exposure, you just increase the gain. That's the beauty of this camera. Back illuminated sensors are very efficient. And we're certainly witnessing this here tonight. This is actually beautiful dynamic range. So we've got a background that's not dark. We see blue sky of M13. Those stars are just magnificent to look at. We may see actually NGC 6207. I don't have a sky map on this laptop here to tell me, but I think it's about 4:30, 5 o'clock position. There's a faint fuzzy there, and I have a funny feeling it might be it. We're going to wait a little bit until it gets darker, because it's still blue sky. I can still see the sun here, and not until we see the background go completely black, darkness is not arrived yet. So we've got another 15-20 minutes to wait at least to get a decent background, so we can increase exposure, and we're going to be able to see more stars. Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful, actually. Yeah, it is. It is. The gain is set. This is at ACG. This is your high conversion gain. I'm going to switch it down to low conversion. There you go. Here comes low conversion gain. This is low conversion gain. So if you're going to do something like long exposure and properly guided, That's the way you would want to go, basically, if you want to do a really nice image to take a picture. But for live, with the high conversion gain, you're combining analog and digital gain together. And on the eye sensor, there is a tab there for that function to function. You could activate it, and this is what I've done in the designing of the circuitry for that specific chip, is to make every software. So the high conversion gain is a big bonus. This thing is so sensitive. It's like making your sensor, the basic sensor is 1900 millivolt in sensitivity. It's as if you were bumping up to about, oh my goodness, close to 3500 millivolt, if not 4000 millivolt. That's how much sensitivity you're gaining. And again, you just, using just a few second exposure. We're down to 2 second exposure here at the moment. I can't believe the mosquitoes here tonight. Anyways, the mount seems to track okay. Excuse me. Of course, it's less aperture, so it's more forgiving in tracking error and periodic error and what have you. Yes, Doug, I really like the RC optics. Once you've tried that, it's hard to go back to anything else pretty well. The most impressive optics I've seen is that Meade LX200 16-inch. It's for a big, large aperture, they're amazing. But boy, when I use that little 8-inch RC, it's amazing. You've got 99% reflectivity on the mirror and on the secondary. And they're going to show the best image possible. And they are truly made for astrophotography or imaging or video. In this case, we call them VRC, for video RC. And that's the reason why we nicknamed them that way, to separate them from everybody else. It works really good with focal reducer, the universe focal reducer, which is a 0.5. So instead of f8 optics, we're down to f4, f4.5, give or take. What I'd be curious to try out is the scope at f8 using this camera with lots of gain and with the conversion gain, the high conversion gain active like it is now. We would be able to do high resolution imaging very easily. I can see the moon casting a shadow here of my domes. I got my 2 domes in the backyard, and I can see the moon casting a shadow from them. So we've got a moon that's out, and it's casting a glare all over the place, but then again, who cares? No, Matt, that's the whole idea of an RC. That's why Hubble Space Telescope and all of the professional observatory worldwide, they use the RC design. It's corrected. These are corrected. They're hyperbolic, and they're corrected on the mirror. They take the longest to make, they're the most difficult to make, and they are the most expensive for that reason. These specific RC-8, like this one here for an example, these are the one that we sell under VRC-6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16-inch. And these guys have, all of them are f8, except for the 6 inches f9. And all of the other ones, they have quartz mirror. So your main mirror is quartz, your secondary is quartz, and it's dielectric coated. So instead of having 92% reflectivity aluminum, it's dielectric coated at 99% reflectivity aperture right off the bat. And optics are absolutely sharp. So anybody that plans to buy a refractor, you should really look into a small 6-inch RC. It's half the size. It's made for astrophotography. You could reach focus all over the place with it, with an eyepiece or any camera. They come with spacers for that. and optics you're going to get will certainly not only beat, but they're going to rival and even beat the refractor. I've seen that so many times, and they are made for astrophotography. So for videos, the same thing. And as you can tell, everything is pinpoint. They do have a large secondary, but it doesn't affect the system, because on an RC, 1/3 of the mirror, basically on the edge, this is where the most active part is of an RC. The center part doesn't work too much. It's being blocked by the secondary. And you're hyperbolic, and the correction is done on the edges. So that's why I like to use a focal reducer. Technically speaking, you're not supposed to use a focal reducer on an RC because it's already corrected. But if you use a mild one, or if you use one that's really designed for RC, or really good quality glass for focal reducer, you're not going to have that issue. As you can see here tonight, everything is pretty well pinpoint right across the field. As far as a coma is concerned, if there is a coma, it's very minor. It's because we have too much of an aggressive focal reducer. There's a focal reducer called 0.075, so it brings you from f8 to f6, and it's not going to give you any coma. If you go less than that, it will give you a wee bit of coma, which is normal because it's a hyperbolic. You're getting out of the range of the actual main mirror. So you want to stick with a 0.75 or 0.70. 0.75 is the best. It'll bring you from f6, f8 a 0.5. So I'm pushing the limit a little bit about it, but again, it's not a big deal. Generally speaking, everything is nice, pinpoint, nice tight star pattern, and M13. And I believe if you look in the lower right corner, you're going to see a little fuzzy area, and that fuzzy area is NGC6207, the Galaxy. And now I'm going to show you, I'm going to activate the box. When you do a color balance, for an example, you have that funny looking box. Alright, this is M30 here in the center. You see that fuzzy little guy? That is NGC6207, just like I thought it was. It's pretty cool to be able to pull a Galaxy out in the same field of view. And may I remind you, we're using only 2-second exposure, and the gain is set at 38. That is simply amazing. We'll bring that back here. We're going to close that little box. And we certainly are having a very nice view of this. Let me zoom in here using the built-in zoom, or the percentage of image scale that we see. This is 50%. We're going to jump that up to 67%. And there's no breakdown at all. You still see everything as sharp as ever. And you're starting to magnify quite a lot here. And it's, here's 75%. We're going to go to 100%. Wow, you're starting to see a lot of detail within the core of M13, and we're still at 2 seconds. That's 100%. Let's jump to 150%. And now we're going to start to go into sub-pixels, and you're going to see the actual movement of the mount. Watch this. I could see it here on the screen. It moves left, right, center, left, right, center. This is the periodic error. There you go. It just moved towards the left. You're watching the periodic error. The more magnification you use, the more periodic error you're going to see on the mount. Any mount. It doesn't matter how well made it is. Guiding or not. There's 200%. Watch this. Now we're going to see this thing go left, right, up, down, in periodic error. There you go. It just moved a bit towards the left. This is 200%. Here we go. It just moved downwards a little bit. And this is your periodic error. You're magnifying the motion, the movement. We'll pick up a nice blue star there, and then let's go back to the actual fit the window size, which is the full frame of the imager. There you go. So when you back off like this, you don't see the periodic errors much because you don't use much magnification. Holy cow. Okay, so Bernie, that means the video is being delayed quite a lot. The voice should go within a second or two through, but I think the video is reaching you people much later than that. So a 30-second delay. There's two reasons for that. Excuse me. My upload is very, very slow here. I'm using a wireless system, which is about 350 feet away from the observatory on the laptop. And number two, at your end as well. Although you may have high-speed internet, it still will show a lag. It's welcome to the internet. That's what it is. But now we're completely zoomed out and fit the window. This is beautiful. Hey Brian, how are you? Glad to see you here. Good. Anyways, this is an 8-inch. This is M13 what we're looking at. Again, this is just the 8-inch. It's a VRC-8 with a 0.5 focal reducer to the DS10c, and the exposure we're using is 2. Hang on. 2.1 seconds. There we go. Here it is. 2174 millisecond, which is 2.1 seconds. You'll see that appear on your screen momentarily, and that's the exposure that we're using at the moment. It also increased the gain, which I'm going to do. We're going to go from 38 to about 50, and that's going to bring us there. There's a satellite going by at the bottom, 7 o'clock position. It's a stationary one, I would imagine, or it's a slow-moving one. As the Earth rotates, and also as the mount tracking, if it is a stationary, well, this is where we're seeing it as a streak, and you'll see it moves at every 2 seconds, proving that in fact it is 2-second exposure. Boy, I wish you people would see the image that I'm seeing here. It's so clear and sharp. Doug, it's a 4.86 or 4.68. I can't remember. It's 4.86, I believe it is. It's slightly bigger than the Panasonic 16 megapixel. The beauty of this, though, Doug, it's the sensitivity of the chip is one thing. It's the electronics. The IMX 294 was not intended for public release, basically. What I mean by that is it's a sensor that's not intended to be used in consumer grade DSLRs, iPhone cameras, or digital cameras and things like that. That specific sensor is designed for the new next generation security cameras coming up soon, and they are going to use a large format like this. These are high-end security cameras. It's designed to see in the dark. No amp glow, no nothing. There's actually a circuitry for that we need to activate to get rid of the amp glow, and does it ever work well? So that was part of the design and electronics in it. And that way you don't have to take dark frames most of the time. You can, but you don't have to. I'm not taking any dark frames. I'm not stacking. I'm not doing anything here. This is raw the way it is, one frame at a time, and what we see is what we get, a 2-second exposure. No, I'm full out here, Brian. I can't supply any more bandwidth than this. I'm on DS. DSLR here, DSLR, DSL. And if I go any slower, I go backwards, I tell you. Let me see the streaming. Of course, the streaming won't work. Yeah, I'm all the way up here. Computer's reacting very, very slowly here. I don't know how come or what's going on. It's an i5 processor, and it's just chugging along. 16 gig of memory on this laptop, and it's just, if they go any slower, go backwards, folks, I tell you. No, Matt, the DS10 is the latest software. It only works with the latest software because at the time of the previous software, it was not developed yet. I was still working on a circuitry for it to activate all the function on the IMX294. Now we got it going with the new software, and this is the one that I'm using presently. So it's working pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to turn up the gain a little bit more. I'm at 50 for the gain at the moment. I'm going to bring that up to 73 for gain. I didn't touch any of the exposure here. Wow, that made a big difference. Huge difference. This is just the gain. The exposure time is still 2 seconds. I always said it's not the aperture that'll make the thing. It's the F ratio is key to get a good bright image. You got a smaller image scale, of course. Well, we could change that just by activating the percentage of the screen here, which I've just done here at the moment. So this is 50%. Just wait 30 seconds for you folks. You're going to see the result in 30 seconds. It looks like there's a delay. I pump it up to 75. I just sucked myself in the face because I got bit by a mosquito again. Wow, they're nasty tonight. This is 75. I don't know if you see that yet. The gain was at 50. I just turned it up to 73. And the max, I'm not even half yet on the gain. Let's go back out again to fit the window. And I'm going to turn up the gain. I'm still at 2.1 second exposure. I'm going to turn up the gain to 100 out of 160. So a little bit more than halfway. And I turned up a little bit more, 135. I'm going to go back down to about 75 here. I'm just curious to turn up the exposure. We're going to go from 2.1 seconds to 3.1 seconds. There you go. This is 1 extra second, and look how big of a difference it made. That's just stunning. The gain's at 75%, or 75, that is, out of 160. Lower right corner, we certainly see the galaxy well now. And let me show you where it is. I'm going to use a white balance square. And NGC 6207 is right there. I'm going to wait 30 seconds for you guys could actually see this. That means this camera would work really, really well in a small aperture, like a 3-inch, 3.5-inch refractor. This would work miraculously well. We're still below 5 seconds. This is 3.1 second. Gain at 75, and we're picking up NGC 6207 Galaxy in the same field of view with an 8-inch scope. This is truly amazing. Okay, so does anybody see the red square that I put over the Galaxy on the Lower right corner, I don't know if you guys see it yet. Am I still broadcasting here? Yes, okay. You see it? Okay, sounds good. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that. We're going to put back, I like to use that little square to show on the screen, although I'm not doing a white balance. Just activating the function, put a box there and you get to see it. So obviously we're getting a darker sky in the background, and now we get to see an object quite nice actually. Now if we want to get a little bit darker background, you go to color adjustment. There's a feature called gamma, and that's the midpoint between your histogram, the high end and the low end of the histogram. Gamma is always your middle section, so let's increase a little bit. So we're going to get a bit darker background here. Okay, this is normal default, and this is at 1.32 gamma. Just wait for the change. You'll see it go darker. So you're going to get a much nicer background without a dark frame or using anything else for that matter. There's no dark frame, there's no stacking. You can use this on any motorized mount because of the sensitivity of it. And the circuitry used for that sensor is just amazing. Very, very nice. Again, this is 3.1 second exposure, and the gain's at 75. Now I've got the gamma set at 1.32. I'll put back the gamma at default, which is 1.00, and you're going to see a lighter background, but we do see fainter stars in the background, so you got to watch how much of the gamma you're going to adjust here, otherwise you're going to lose some of the background stuff, and this is what we're going to do now. So instead of going to 1.32, how about if we drop down to about 1.17, 1.15, I think should give us a decent light black background without losing much detail at all. Oh, the mouse tracking good, I have to give it that. So far so good. Okay, I'm going to put back the gamma default, and the reason I want to do this is I want to lower the exposure a little bit. We're going to switch object. We're going to go back down to 2 second exposure, and there you go. This is 2 second exposure. We're going to swing the scope on another target. I hope it'll get there. Just bear with me for a moment, folks. I got to get up and go to the mount.